On this episode of 10-8, Sergeant Jimmy Adams from our Aviation and Marine Unit will stop by to talk to us about boater safety tips. Sergeant Rich Zarkowski from Crime Prevention will be here to talk about programs going on in our community, and we'll ride along with Sheriff Mascara and the agency command staff as part of National Night Out. It's an episode you won't want to miss, so stay tuned. We're about to go 10-8. Hello and welcome to another episode of 10-8. I'm your host, Brian Beatty, and this is your inside look to the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office. Welcome, Sergeant Jimmy Adams from our Aviation and Marine Unit. He's here to kick us off today and talk to us a little bit about boater safety. One of the hallmarks of our community is the miles of pristine beaches and coastline that we have, and an important thing to know about all year long, not just in the summertime, is boater safety. Sergeant Adams, talk us through some of the points that you and the Marine Unit have brought to us today.
Okay, welcome, Brian. We've had several incidences that just bring these things to light. We go out in our boats all year long, and sometimes you just kind of forget about some of the safety issues. And the first thing I would advise people is one of the top causes that people get in trouble is not monitoring the weather. So be weather-wise when you're out on the water with the technology today and the smartphones and everything. There's no reason not to monitor what the weather's doing around you. Once you get in that environment, you're stuck there. Mm-hmm. So if you're not watching and paying attention to what the weather is, it can cut you off from shore. The seas start getting rougher, and now you have an issue to get back. So be weather-wise. Always monitor what it's doing, know what it's doing, and if you're ever in doubt, just stay off the water.
What about before you go out on the water? What should you do to make sure you have everything you need?
Just as if you would take your vehicle on a trip and check the oil and the tires and things like that, do the same thing with your boat. Every time you get in it, develop a little checklist, a pre-departure checklist that you can run down and go, okay, I have the plugs for the boat, I have some simple tools, I have all my safety equipment, and make sure that it's there and it's working.
And that kind of leads us into the next point, common sense.
That is common sense to look at your stuff, but sometimes people get in a hurry, they forget about those things, so checklists will help that, but use common sense the entire time you're out there. It will save you by thinking about just the simplest things. It's a boat, it doesn't have brakes. That's common sense. It's different. Bigger vessels take longer to stop, to turn around, to maneuver. Give them a wider berth. You know, always use common sense when you're out there on the water. If it's crowded, slow down a little bit.
And be patient with others.
And be patient with others. That's simple common sense, but you wouldn't believe how much trouble it gives people.
We were talking earlier, one of the things that I always learned growing up around boating is to have somebody else on the boat that can take over if something happens to you.
That's an excellent point. And we respond to those types of calls. We went to one not too long ago. The gentleman was it was a sailing vessel, he was on it by himself. He broke a couple ribs, and now he's in the floor, and nobody's steering the vessel. You know, he didn't have somebody, but if you do have somebody and they don't understand how to operate the equipment, drive the boat, then they're not going to be able to get you back. So everybody that you take out with you, with the exception of maybe real small children, should know how to operate the things in the boat, know how to throw the anchor out if the engine quits and it's drifting, know how to steer the vessel, know how to put it in gear and maneuver it. So everyone should know those things.
Tell us about a float plan.
Float plan, there's an official float plan. You can go to the MyFWC website and fill it out. And it basically details what your vessel description is, what it looks like, how big it is, and it tells how many people are on board and where you're going and where you're going to be. So that if you don't show up when you're supposed to be back, they'll come looking for you. Now, that's not necessary that everybody does that. But if you go out and you tell a friend, hey, Brian, I'm going to go out in the Indian River and I'm going south by the power plant, and then I may run offshore south a little ways, maybe a couple miles, and I'm gonna be out there till 7, 8 o'clock or sundown. When you see that I don't show up when I'm supposed to be back, now you can tell the authorities like us that are going to come looking for you. Hey, he was out in the South River and then he was going offshore and this is where he's going to be and this is when he was supposed to be back. He had 2 other friends with him. And now we know what we're looking for. Describe the vessel to them and everything. And so you should always do that, especially if you're going to make a trip like to the Bahamas or things like that. But you should always tell somebody where you're going to be and what you're doing.
Life jackets, always important.
Always important. It's actually a requirement, plus a Type 4 throwable device on the vessel. Children under 6 have to wear their life jackets anytime the vessel's underway. There's no exceptions to that. And those are laws, but it is common sense too. And today, the PFDs are getting smaller, they're inflatable, they're less cumbersome. Wear it. Wear it. You never know when things are going to change.
One of the things that we see, especially around the holiday weekends, is, and it's a dangerous connection, is alcohol and boating.
Alcohol sneaks up on people when they're on the water, and that's the real issue with it. You can get a BUI for just like you would get a DUI, but the alcohol, what happens is they drink it and like normal, then the sun and the wind and the effects from that all day long just magnifies the effects of it. So try to avoid it anytime you're on the water, because knowing those things are going to get magnified by the element.
Learn to swim is one of your tips, and that's one that people would think, well, if you're on a boat, more than likely you know how to swim, but you find that not to be true.
It may go back to the common sense thing, but there are people that want to enjoy the water, and they want to enjoy it so badly that they go out there and they don't know how to swim, and we encounter it more than you would think. In those cases, usually you can identify them because they're wearing life jackets. They're the ones that always wear their life jackets, but you can go to Red Cross or some of your local organizations and take a class and learn how to swim. It may just save your life.
It might just do that. Boating courses, another good opportunity, and tell us about the connection with high school students and boating courses.
My FWC, that same website, you can go on it and it lists like 12 or 15, I'm not sure the exact amount, but places that will give boating courses, some of them free. Most of them are a nominal fee, but there are a couple that are free. So you can go on there, take a boating course, educate yourself, and also they have a program with high school kids that you can go do that, and it's a half a credit towards their high school, towards some of their classes. So that's incentive that they're encouraging kids to do. A
really great opportunity, even if you don't have a boat. You learn some skills so that maybe you can be that backup person when you're out on a boat with friends.
That's right. You can be that assistant that could very well get you out of trouble.
What is a vessel safety check, and tell us about how the laws have changed regarding that?
Well, the vessel safety check, the Coast Guard will do it free of charge. You can go to them and they will look over all your systems, all your safety equipment. They will highlight things that maybe you didn't know were wrong and need to be checked, but they'll do it free of charge, tell you what needs to be addressed, what doesn't. And nowadays too, the law just changed in July. If you have a safety inspection done on your vessel, you get a sticker, and so you're exempt from that safety inspection again. They can't pull you over for it. Coast Guard can because they're federal, but our guys won't pull you over for that same thing again because you're showing the sticker. It goes up by the FL numbers on the vessel, just forward of that, and you display it, and then they can see that, yes, you've had a safety check.
And some of those things that are requirements to be on the boat, we talked about PFDs, but what are some of the other things that are going to be part of that safety check that you want to have on your boat?
You need to have a fire extinguisher on the vessel. You need to have a visual warning signal anytime you're offshore.
Like a flare?
Like flares or dives. Mm-hmm. You also have to have audible warning signals. You have to have that throwable that I spoke about earlier. And it's also a good idea to have things like floatable storage boxes that you put your cell phone in, things that you might need to communicate to the outside world should you get in trouble. Even your marine band radio, throw it in those dry boxes to keep it safe. And should something happen, you can recover that box, and now you have contact with the outside world. You're not out there in the ocean by yourself. Another one of those things is your PFDs. They make all kinds of safety equipment now, like water activated lights, which are big if we have to come looking for you at night, and also GPS locating systems. They're water activated usually. They'll come on, they send a GPS signal to the satellites, and we know where you're at, so we can come get you.
It makes things a lot quicker and recovery time a lot shorter.
It does, and time is our worst enemy. You know, we don't think about it because Florida's so warm all the time, but hypothermia, after about 18 hours in the water, you can get hypothermia, even in Florida. So if you're out there trying to survive, and now your great trip that you had planned for a nice summer day turns into a survival situation, all these things that we just talked about impact that, and impact how long it takes us to find you. That's our first task, and then recover you.
Right. Well, and I appreciate you coming in and the Marine unit working with us to provide some of these tips. We were talking in preparation for this that working with the Marine unit on some of these holiday weekends, they're some of the nicest, friendliest deputies that we have. They enjoy being out there and interacting with other boaters, and will do just about anything for you. If you see something or need to flag them down, they're usually right there to help you.
Yeah, we'll encourage that. They're absolutely love their job, but they love to educate. You know, public safety is one of our things. We want everybody to go out and have a safe and fun summer and enjoy it. We don't want to come out and get you, but they will talk to you. All you have to do is stop and ask them the questions you want to know, and they'll be more than willing to educate you.
Well, thank you for coming. And if you'd like more information about the tips that Sergeant Adams spoke about, they're on our website at stluciesheriff.com, and you can click on the I'm Looking For tab to find this list. We'll be right back with more from 10-8. Welcome back to 10-8. We have with us now Sergeant Rich Zarkowski with our Crime Prevention Unit, and he's here to talk to us about an important new program that's going on in our county specifically for hurricane season. Those that are residents of our community that live on the barrier islands may remember back when we had hurricanes several years ago, and Sergeant Zarkowski is here to talk to us about a new placard program specifically for those residents. So Sergeant Zarkowski, tell us a little bit about what this placard is.
Well, first, how it was developed, it's a joint effort between St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office Crime Prevention Unit and St. Lucie County's Emergency Management. And what it is we all know when there's a disaster, for example, a hurricane, there's going to be an order for an evacuation, there's going to be the actual storm, then the re-entry back out to the islands. We all know it's chaos. There's potential chaos, there's potential looting, and this, what it does is it's going to help the residents and us after the disaster get back out on the island.
So who qualifies for this particular placard?
One, they need to be a resident, either a full-time or a part-time resident, and what they will need, one, to get back on the island, they'll need the placard. Second, they'll need identification, and they'll need 2 forms of for example, a utility bill, a tax deed, a cable bill, phone bill, 2 forms of current utility bills, and their ID, and the placard to get back out on the island.
Okay, so where can they go to pick one of these up if they live on the island?
Well, there's 4 locations. You can go to our main headquarters on Midway Road. You can go to the St. Lucie West Courthouse, which is located in St. Lucie West. You can go to either driver's license office, the one in Port St. Lucie, or in Fort Pierce. Just go up to the deputy that's working the desk, and they'll fill out the forms for you and get you a placard.
Okay, so you can go to either of those 4 locations. You bring in photo identification, your driver's license, and then 2 utility bills to prove that you're a resident of the island.
Yes.
Okay, and then once the all clear is given, in the event that we have a storm, once the all clear is given, then this will just help you get through the checkpoint a little bit quicker and a little bit easier, because the deputies, or if the National Guard is brought in, they'll know that if you have this placard, it's a pretty good chance that you're a resident of the island.
Well, it makes it easier for us, it makes it easier for the resident, and it also makes it harder for the looters.
Right.
Because if they do not have the identification, they don't have the placard, they will not get out on the island. And we have to emphasize, It's not a guarantee to get back out on the island.
Sure.
If the sheriff determines it's not safe enough for a resident to go back out there, they will not be allowed entry.
Exactly. While you're here, let's talk about some of the other programs under crime prevention. Just kind of give us an overview of some of the most popular ones.
Well, the crime prevention unit, we do a lot of public presentations, a lot of public speaking throughout the county. For example, at homeowners associations, we do a lot of public safety events at, for example, Home Depot, Sam's Club. At the county fair, we set up a booth with a lot of crime prevention tips. We have a program called Senior versus Crime, which helps seniors. For example, we were talking about hurricanes. We had a lot of fraud. The last hurricanes we had in 2004, we had a lot of fraudulent contractors that weren't licensed taking advantage of some of our senior citizens. Well, this group of senior citizens that help other senior citizens actually help them recover some of their money.
Okay. What about the Explorer program, a very popular one for teenagers?
Yeah, oh, yes, it is. Currently we have over 60 kids in our Explorer program. We have a deputy that runs it. Her job is dedicated to that 24/7 with those 60 kids. It's a well-structured program. They learn a lot of discipline. They learn how police tactics and basically the police world, how it works. And just recently, we just hired 2 former Explorers, and they're currently working on the road. They just started with us.
A really great program. And the viewers may recognize the Explorers from any time they've been out to the St. Lucie County Fair or to a graduation out at the fairgrounds. They're the ones that are out there in the sun and the rain and the wind helping park all those cars.
And just so you know, they volunteer
to
do that. We ask them to do that, and they're more than happy. If we ask those kids, if we ask for 10 volunteers, for example, a parking detail like that, 30 or 40 of them step up to the plate and they want to work it.
What is the emergency notification system?
That is an emergency notification system is a system where the sheriff records a pre-recorded message. For example, if a sexual predator moved into your neighborhood within a mile radius, he would give you the name, the charge, the address of where the predator is located, where they reside. We also use that for hurricane evacuations, forest fire evacuations. Just recently, we've been having problems with IRS scams. Everybody's getting a phone call that they owe the IRS money. The IRS never calls you.
Right.
The sheriff recorded a pre-recorded message. We sent it out countywide to let the citizens know it's a scam. Don't pay them.
And you can sign up voluntarily for this. You can go to the website of the sheriff's office. You can sign up for this, enter your phone number, and then you would then be on the list to receive those kinds of phone calls.
Yes.
Very good. What about the COP and the Neighborhood Watch program, some of the biggest programs that we have at the sheriff's office?
Well, there's a slight difference between the 2 of them. The COP is our Citizens Observation Patrol program. What they do is they have to apply with us. They have to go through a training program, an extensive background check, and they actually fall under our colors. We provide them a special COP uniform. They drive a COP car. It's not an actual police car with red and blue lights on it, but they do have emergency lighting on it. And they fall under our workman's comp, and they fall under our direction.
And they're to be the eyes and the ears.
Exactly. They are the folks out there where the deputy cannot be on every corner. They are out there 24/7 in shifts, driving throughout the entire county, reporting any suspicious activity.
And how many of those do we have?
We have over 300 currently.
Wow. And they have proven that. In the past, they have helped us find various types of criminal activity that's been going on, whether it's been home burglaries or even we just had one recently where they helped us make an arrest for somebody that was battering a significant other.
Yes, it was a domestic battery. The member was following a vehicle outside her complex, and she was witnessing the battery going on. Of course, we give them strict instructions: don't confront. They're not law enforcement. They're just eyes and ears. She immediately wrote down the tag number, called 911, and it turns out it was a domestic battery and an arrest was made.
And an arrest was made, all because of that very observant COP member. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a few minutes when we go and ride along with Sheriff Mascara as he attends Neighborhood Watch and COP events as part of National Night Out. Stay with us. We'll be right back on 10/8. Welcome back to 10/8. On August 2nd, Sheriff Mascara and members of our command staff and crime prevention unit took to the streets of St. Lucie County and visited more than 16 neighborhood watch groups and citizens observation patrol units as part of National Night Out. Take a look.
Well, first of all, Brian, National Night Out started over 30 years ago as an initiative to build partnerships between communities and law enforcement. And over the past 30 years, it has traversed across all 50 states. All 50 states are involved. And it's where we go and reinforce our partnership with the communities that we serve. And what we know in law enforcement is when communities have a strong neighborhood watch and a strong citizens observation patrol, those communities tend to be the safest in our community. And on a day like today, we go by and reinforce that positive partnership and tell them the great work they've done all year has reduced crime and kept crime out of their neighborhoods.
It's always safe, your quality of life is always high, and we are honored to partner with you to keep that going. And we do that by reinforcing how important it is to be involved in your neighborhood watch and your citizens observation patrol. And that's why we're here tonight. So you newbies, if you're not volunteering and you want to get involved, it pays dividends.
And we're going to how many tonight?
Well, there's 16 on the list, and we're going to make 14 of them.
All right.
2 are outliners for me, and I can't travel to those homeowners associations and get back in enough time to get the 14 that we have scheduled.
Awesome. Well, it's another National Night Out, and we're here to thank you for being involved in your neighborhood watch and your citizens observation patrol. Recognized in Tropical Isles by one of this year's outstanding communities, because you have demonstrated an unusual degree of initiative and perseverance, organizing neighbors and deterring crime, reducing fear, and helping to make St. Lucie County a better place to live. And we thank you all. Who's going to accept it?
George is going to accept it. I can do that.
There you go. Oh, man. Snuck right up on me.
You know, when I tell people our county is 625 square miles, they can't believe it. And then when I share with them, at any given time, we have about 15 deputies on the road to service that. They say, well, how do you do it? Well, we can only do it one way, and that's the partnerships that we've developed with our communities that are the eyes and ears that assist us to keep crime out and keep their quality of life the way they want it and expect it. When we go to these communities, all the ones in green shirts are the volunteers, and they do this for not money, not fame. They do it just to make their community better.
There you go. Thank you. God bless you all. Keep up the good work. Good night. See you all. Take care.
We'd like to thank all of our volunteers and communities that participated in National Night Out for making it such a great success. And thank you for tuning in for another episode of 10/8. On behalf of Sheriff Ken Mascara, I'm Brian Beatty. Stay safe. If you have any questions about anything heard on today's show or about the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office, call us at 772-462-7300 or visit our website at www.stluciesheriff.com or follow us on Facebook or Twitter at STLucieSheriff.